Cheers.
Cheers. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
We have not done a podcast in a long time, but it feels very fitting that our podcast this year that we kick off things with is our Fangoria podcast.
Yeah, our annual Chainsaw Awards podcast, which the Chainsaw Awards were late this year. So it kind of delayed us doing this podcast in general, but also we've just been really busy.
Yeah, really busy this year.
Yeah, we're not doing circuitry this year, but we do plan to do it next year. We just got kind of busy. I've been on the road a bunch.
Yeah, Nikki Manos has been particularly busy this year, which has been super fun, but does not bode well for video editing and getting together a stream and doing all this fun stuff with everyone. So
yeah, and this is our first October off since 2020. Every October is usually like our big push to do circuitry, get everything edited, make all the skits, try to wrangle all the artists and everything, and try to get everything scheduled so we can do it and assembled. But you're also releasing a bunch of music this fall too.
I am. I had a single come out a couple weeks ago. It was a remix of Frankincense the Empress.
Yeah.
I did that, which was super, super cool. Shout out to her because that single is awesome. For her first single too, she has made a really big splash, which is really exciting. And I also have a single coming out on October 22nd, which will probably be sometime, before this podcast comes out, but it's called Wendigo, based on a creepy folklore creature from the north that I have a little bit of experience with. But actually, to be honest with you, if you want to go into a cool little, quick little deep dive, the first time I ever heard about the Wendigo was in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. There's actually a Wendigo story, a short story in there. And I was so freaked out by it. I love those books. I mean, as a 90s kid, that hit pretty hard, but especially a horror person. But yeah, I read the book and read that story and was super compelled by it, read more about them, and especially being from Maine, they're kind of there and everywhere, and even though you don't really think about it too much, it's present. So I'm really excited about that single coming out.
When was the last time you released music?
Was it your Fright mix? No, because we came out with our compilation this year. It was the one that I did.
Yourself.
Oh.
To be the Fright mix.
Oh my God.
And then something you've done that hasn't been a remix, that was your original stuff, was in 2020.
Oh my God, no kidding.
So it's been 4 years since you've released anything that's like your own music. So it's pretty exciting.
This is pretty exciting. I know, thank you. Well, I'm thrilled about it. Ironfist has also been releasing some new music this season, so it's been really exciting.
I'm both Nikki Manos and Ironfist.
Shh, it's a secret.
So I do both.
You haven't figured this out yet, because if you've seen any iteration of these different podcasts, depending on the day we're calling you, I don't even know what to call you anymore. Just, Nikki feels right.
There you go.
Nikki feels sweet. So we go with Nikki. But yeah, so this is good timing because, like you said, Fangoria came out with their Chainsaw Award kind of late this year. Normally, we are ready and chomping at the bit beginning of the year. Just, okay, so when are they going to put it out? When are they going to put it out? And it was every month leading up to when they finally announced it in, what was it, August, or it might have even been September. You and me were just waiting and when are they going to do it? What movies are they going to do? And I'm really excited we waited to see, because it was a really, really strong list.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good this year. I don't necessarily know if it was the super strongest. You were saying that earlier, that you thought this was the best year that we've done this for, because this is our third or fourth year that we've done it. I thought the movies were really good. I really have no complaints. But the thing is, with doing this podcast so late and trying to draw these, that's why I thought it'd be so fun, is I've only watched these movies when we watched them. We haven't really done a lot of rewatching of any of the movies. So I'm really going to just use my memory as best as possible to talk about them. So it's probably going to be pretty short.
1 hour later.
Well, it's also cool because some of the movies on the list we watched recently, so we have a little bit more of a fresh memory. Some of them we did do a rewatch. By the way, I'm just going to make a quick mention that for the people who are watching our video version of this, if the lighting changes, it's because we're taking advantage of some gorgeous Las Cruces sunlight, but it's apt to change the scenery just
because this is the first, probably the very first
podcast for sure.
Or it's also the first day in all of Las Cruces' year of weather that we're getting clouds
and rain.
So we decided to shoot here in the tasting room because we thought we could use the natural light, but it rained like crazy last night. We're still getting a little cloud, so you'll see a little fluctuation and stuff. It's been pretty fun watching like the test footage of us getting everything set up. It was like, and you just see all the colors
all the changing. It's good. It's gonna be fun. No problem. I'm just happy to honestly be somewhere where it's not 60 degrees.
Yeah,
this was lovely. But we're gonna do something fun. So this Fangoria Chainsaw Award episode is not just any Chainsaw Award episode. We're gonna be doing a special edition 666 episode. What we are doing is Nick has gone through the list of nominees of this year's Chainsaw Awards. He's picked 6 movies that he really liked and wants to talk about. I have done the same, my 6 movies that I want to talk about.
2 sixes. But what's the catch?
The catch is that we haven't talked to each other about what movies we picked. And today we are going to give each other 6 seconds before each movie we talk about to draw it out Pictionary style. And the other person has to guess what the movie is. It's going to be thrilling because 6 seconds isn't a lot of time to really properly like Pictionary something out. But we've seen all these movies together. Hopefully this shouldn't be like the most difficult thing. And it'll make it a little riveting. We'll see who wins at the end. Bragging rights, you know?
Yeah. Who wins the pumpkin?
Oh my God. Who wins Augie? All right, sir. So you should be the first to start. We will count you down. 6 seconds is what you have. So when you're ready, we will start now. Okay.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Oh, this isn't good. I don't know if anybody can see this properly.
All right, 6 seconds is very short. I think you got to do 6 Mississippi. I feel like we're going to keep this in, but I felt like she didn't do a full 6 seconds.
Should we keep this, but you want another shot at this?
Yes. Can you count Mississippi? 1 Mississippi. 2 Mississippi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you're done.
All right. We'll give it the Mississippi go, okay?
Uh-huh.
For the Southern boy here, we'll give you a Mississippi go. All right. So ready and 1 Mississippi. And you're done.
Okay.
That really didn't get better. Okay, so for the
I added 1 extra person.
I don't know if that makes this any better. Out of the things I'm supposed to have. Oh, I think maybe I might know.
What is it?
Okay, so I'm going to just explain a little bit of this beautiful drawing for the people who can't see it. There's 2 people and what looks like something on, I think it's a camera on a tripod. I get the, no. Oh, because I was going to say, I think it might be Late Night with the Devil because I thought it might be some people on camera.
Look at both photos. Got the other amazing piece
the comparison. So they're literally.
What's on that guy's head?
A hat.
Okay. What character? It's not a movie. It's the one category that's not a movie. Oh. Has a hat that they wear a hat.
It's not a movie.
It's not a movie.
Is it Joe Bob?
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's a little drive-in speaker.
That's a drive.
And then that's Darcy with big boobs.
I didn't even look at what's on the bottom.
That was the last thing I drew.
That's disturbing. I hope you can see that.
Sorry, Darcy.
Maybe we'll do a shot of these after so you can see, or we'll do a cut. This is so okay. So talk about Joe Bob. We love Joe Bob.
We love Joe Bob. It was the 6th season, I think, actually, too. So there's the 6th season, and that was it's been really, really fun. We watched we've seen like almost every episode, if not every episode, and it's just my favorite. I grew up with him, and then I love the idea of tuning in like every other Friday or when he does the specials or anything where we can like sit and watch a movie. I love him like talking about all the different stuff that goes in behind the movie, stuff you would never even think about. It makes maybe a movie you're watching that isn't very good like so much more engaging. Like I can't say I've loved every single movie that we've ever seen on his show, but I love the way that he talks about them, and it just gets you to appreciate just watching movies. and just understanding kind of like what goes into making them, and also just what makes them fun. And I feel like him and Darcy just like it's like a really nice like warm hug when we come in, and we're definitely part of the mutant fam. And yeah, I just wanted to make that like my first one. It was like my top thing.
Well, it's sweet because we've seen them before. We've actually gone to see Joe Bob and Darcy live in LA. And then I think the other really cool little thing that's made it extra special for us is that we spend a lot of time here in Las Cruces with our Nana, and she loves Joe Bob. She loves the fact that Joe Bob really gives you the in-depth scoop on a movie. She loves the behind-the-scenes stuff. I don't know.
She'll like ask a question like, well, how do they do that? Like, we're watching a movie, and then the next Joe Bob break,
he explains it.
He'll tell it exactly how they did it, which growing up was incredibly annoying with her. But now, when we watch Joe Bob, I don't have to like be like, well, I don't know. And he'll just tell you.
That being said, I don't think she asks as many questions because I think she almost knows too that it's like coming. So it's really fun. But it's been really nice with her watching movies, and it's cool that somebody like that can bring everybody together is like kind of a magical thing. So cheers to Joe Bob. That was awful for the first one. Should I do one?
You're next.
Okay. All right, you have to be the one.
Are you ready?
Are you going to do the Mississippi go?
Yes. Yeah, don't go fast. Go slow.
I'll be fine.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
And 1, 2, 3, 5, Mississippi, 6. A hand.
This should not be hard for you to figure out. It's like one of the best movies that came out.
Can you give me a hint?
The hand is the hint. This is the whole point of Pictionary. We don't give hints. You get a hand, and you look at it, and you contemplate it, and then you think of a movie that was on the Chainsaw Award nominee list that had a prevalent hand feature in it.
Infinity Pool?
No.
Late Night with the Devil. Talk to Me?
Yes.
Talk to Me with the hand. Yes. Okay, it's coming back to me.
Here, give me your hand.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Yes.
And then
I remember. Okay. Yeah.
Wow. I thought that was a giveaway, to be honest with you. I didn't think that. That was probably the easiest one.
Well, it took a while to remember the movies and what they were, but it's just a hand. So, okay.
But to be fair, the hand is like the whole movie. So if you haven't seen Talk to Me yet, I would highly, 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 highly recommend it.
I thought it was really good. I think it was under for Best Direction.
It had a few categories.
I don't think it won, but I definitely would say it was like my favorite like directed movie. I thought that the way that the director was able to kind of build this like ensemble cast of like people, and it just felt really fun, and it felt really fresh and really good. I really liked it. And I also think it was under the first feature category.
It was, because the guys who directed it are YouTubers, and it was their first movie, and it's crazy because
it uses YouTubers, right? Or in it, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty predominant in there because it's all about, I mean, it's this kind of like monkey's paw hand that brings you into another world with like,
monkey paw.
You welcome these demonic presence basically into your world without getting too much into the storyline. But it's like a party trick type of thing. So it literally is like this rotting hand that this one person owns and brings around to parties.
It's kind of like a metaphor for like drug use.
And it's like the thrill of doing it, but the moment where it goes too far, it really can go too far. And it absolutely, like, I cannot stress enough that when that shift happened in that movie, it was like kind of the sucker punch I feel like I had when I watched Hereditary, when that change happens in that film where like you just stop breathing and you're like, oh my God, like this just escalated like way farther than I anticipated it was going to go. But I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I just felt like it was really compelling because it's not anything that's necessarily... And I guess this is a weird way of saying it. Like, I don't want to say it's like, it's not a completely unique idea, but the way it's presented is absolutely unique and done in a way that I feel like the editing was really well done. It was like fresh and quick. And that might be the YouTuber influencer element of like their backgrounds coming into play. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they didn't necessarily edit it by themselves or do any, maybe they did and I'm completely wrong, but it's really cool. I think that element alone just makes it have so much more life than some of these movies. And I think there's probably a few actually on our lists that do this differently, but movies that just have things that breathe so much longer than they really should, where this was so fast and quick and riveting and it kept you on the edge of your seat because the whole time you're just like, now that they've let in bad shit, it's all over. It's done. So it's fun. They're going to make a second one.
Yeah, we could see that being a thing.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'll be interested to see what they do with that because I don't know how you keep that story going, but I loved it. That was mine.
Next. Okay. Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Let me just get one. Let me start one thing, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Your one line.
Oh my God. I don't know if this is like allowed, but okay. All right. You're going to start in and go. 1. And you're done. And you're done. You're done. Done. Hey,
Okay.
What is this? Oh my. Okay. Now this is definitely like. So that is a camera and people sitting and a guy. And that can only mean the one thing.
Yeah.
So you should explain this one. This is your pick, but it's a good one because it's just doing a lot of things differently than I feel like a lot of movies have before.
I'm a big sucker for found footage movies and documentaries that are obviously fake, but the story is so interesting that like you watch it anyway. Like I'm a big fan. It's almost like a guilty pleasure, but they're good movies, so I don't think they're really guilty pleasures.
Like a Blair Witch or something like which we
No,
watched.
like Hell House, LLC. There's all these different like Hell House movies that are really good. They're like found footage-ish kind of documentaries. It's like super fake, obviously, but it's still like super interesting. And Late Night with the Devil is that exact same thing where it's like this was this broadcast that happened in the 70s and it's like unexplained or whatever. And then I thought it was really good. I like there's a lot of like clever things with the cinematography that was really cool. Like when it cuts and it's like black and white in like those behind the scenes sections where they're changing over during commercial breaks is really cool. The like look of it in the overall like cable setting is really cool. But then I also like the end when it kind of goes into like an anamorphic lens, which is all like film nerd stuff, but it helps like tell a visual story, which I thought was really neat. And it kind of goes above and beyond for like what it needs to do in order to be a really good movie. And I believe it won a lot of things, or at least won a few things at the Chainsaw Awards.
Nominated for a bunch.
Yeah, I was nominated for a bunch at the very least. And the lead actor was absolutely amazing. Polka Dot Man. I'm sorry, man. I'm sure every single person that's ever talked about this movie calls you Polka Dot Man, but he's really good in it. And there's lots of really great performances in it, and it's just really fun. I thought it was a good movie. It
was super fun. Also, the beginning of it, where it's shot like truly like a Access Hollywood documentary, where it's talking about how all this goes into just this movie. So the lead up, the hype is so exciting that when you actually get to it, you're just ready for whatever is about to happen, and some weird stuff happens. It's definitely fun. It was a really fun watch.
It's like a movie you could like show your parents if they don't really watch like horror movies, because it's not really a horror movie. It is like at the end kind of, but it's not like a super scary movie or like anything like that. But it's something you could like show anybody, and they'd be okay with it. I think even like a kid, like depending on the age of the kid, it wouldn't like freak them out and give them nightmares most likely.
The end might.
The end might, but I mean, if you kind of tell them it's all fake, then it's like, no, this is real.
That's true.
So it's like, trust me, like we would have heard about this if this was something that happened.
That's true. It's also so steeped in 70s culture that I think anybody from that era will appreciate that. Like there's a lot of detail in those little bits that really make a difference, that really put you in the scene and make you feel like you're really there. So it's super cool.
All right, that was my second pick.
Nice choice. I can't wait to hang these up later. So we're going to frame these and put these in our...
We're going to sell them on our website.
Oh, Jesus. Great. We'll do a fundraiser. That would be thrilling. Yeah. Horrifying.
Buy a collection of these really terrible pictures.
Well, you did a movie about aesthetics, so maybe we should do a movie about aesthetics. So when you're ready, I don't need a second to draw a line. So whenever you're ready, I'll just...
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, and 6 Mississippi. Okay. I think this is Lisa Frankenstein.
No. But not a terrible... It's close. There were some good Frankenstein movies this year that really...
The Poor Things? This is Poor Things?
Yeah.
What is about this is Poor Things?
Well, it's Bella Baxter, and it's the electricity that's making her into,
Sure.
Bella Baxter.
I thought these are smell lines.
No, that's
okay.
electricity. That's just the best I can do for 6 seconds. But I think it's pretty. You guessed a Frankenstein
We all know you're going to
movie.
win the contest.
I've already got one, and you have none.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going very, very well so far. But yeah, I was obsessed with Poor Things. That was definitely one of my favorite movies last year. Not even just for the movie, the music. So we have a Rhodesian Ridgeback Australian Shepherd mix, and we take her for walks every day. And I would go on these like hour-and-a-half walks and just listen to that soundtrack, and the movement of it, the way that story tells the story of Frankenstein without actually being a Frankenstein per se, like mimic. It's like so different from the original Frankenstein, but steeped so much in Mary Shelley's story of the original Frankenstein. There's all these shout outs. I mean, like the Baxter name, Godley, all these different people that if you look into the lore of Frankenstein and Mary Shelley, there's all these connections that Yorgos Lanthimos went through leaps and bounds to make sure we're represented in the film. And also just like nerdy shit. Like if you like Hieronymus Bosch. I was just telling Nick a little while ago that like he was really inspired by a lot of his paintings in the cinematography of the film, and just the way it kind of explores a woman being born into this world, her Enlightenment period, her Romanticism period, all these different things that she goes through. I don't know. I'm obsessed. It's just, I don't even know how to explain it. So much nerdy stuff in there that like excites me.
I think a really good movie is a movie that makes you like, it sticks with you, like it stays a little longer. Speak No Evil.
Speak No Evil.
That came out this year, right?
No, that was last year, but the American remake came out this year.
The McAvoy version.
Mm-hmm.
But like Alex hated that movie, but I think it still stands the fact that it's still like a really good example of this, because it's something that like has stayed, something that like, even though like I never really want to watch it again, I thought it was okay. And Alex really didn't like it. We still like talk about it. So I think those are like those types of really good movies. And so like what makes Poor Things really interesting is that it's a really good movie that we both really liked. And for me, it's on my list as well. We'll have to try to figure out how I'm going to do it differently. It's not going to be too hard because I have no idea really what she drew. But I think that the cinematography is really great. The like blending of like Universal monster movies, like German expressionism and like things like that. Nerdy things to me. The thing that I find interesting is with horror movies is how style works in movies. I just think that's really interesting because like when I make music, I try to consider styles, and when I'm producing music, I kind of consider the role of a producer similar to the role of a director. So like those types of things. So when you like see how they're using style, how they use performances, how they interpret the like material to like make something is always really great. I think this movie does a really good job of that. It's
a perfect way that's done. Absolutely. And I can't, it really has been on my mind since we watched it. I think every performance in it was really good. I think that the way that he attacked the material, and I think that, I don't know, the heart behind it too. Like I know you were talking about style, and Late Night with the Devil is so much a style, and this is so much a style in a completely different way. It was even on the list for like the best costume design, which I think it also was on the list for the Oscars for that as well, and it might have even won it. But so much style, even in the way they decided to compose shots. Like the movie is black and white up until Bella has like her romanticism period, and she kind of jumps into the world with Mark Ruffalo's character and goes off and sees things. It's really, really interesting how even those choices are so deliberate to like choose when to bring color in, to choose when to use a fisheye lens, which they're doing like constantly to show you like her worldview as she's like starting to see it before she actually develops into a fully formed human. All this stuff is so cool. But yeah, it really was a nice little homage to Mary Shelley without actually being a Mary Shelley, and totally taking something and making her interpretation of it. So yeah, I'll be interested. Speaking of interpretations, I'll be really interested. Should we just do your drawing of it right now and then?
No. You have to figure it out.
I think that would be the best thing to do, is let you draw it, and then we talk about how lovely it was for 5 seconds, and then we move on to the next one.
No.
That sucks. You have to figure it out then. Okay.
I'll take it though, so I'm going to draw something.
Well, yes, it's your turn, sir. Surprise me. When you're ready, I will start my countdown.
Okay.
My little dance.
Let's see here. Okay. Here we go. You ready?
And 1, Okay. TTM? That's Talk to Me.
Yes, it is.
Like, what the fuck is TTM? What is this? Why this face?
'Cause it's the demonic face.
Oh, it's the scary face?
It's the scary face.
This is a pretty awful face.
Awful is scary.
I like your interpretation. So, okay. If we take the two, these are our shared. So this a go around. It's a hand and a face for Talk to Me. Yay! That's cool. It's such a good movie. We're gonna have some. It's inevitable we have bleed over.
Yeah, I think Talk to Me. We've already kind of talked about it, but I did just really like it a lot, and I thought it was a really good movie. And I love the direction in that, and I love that it was like their first feature. And I just love that it was really fresh. Mm-hmm. Okay, moving on next. What's your next one?
Okay.
And 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. Godzilla -1.
You need to wait to be done counting. That's against the rules. And that's a terrible drawing. I don't know. This was gonna be a face, and then it just didn't look like a face, so I made it part of
Spikes coming out of the water.
Yeah, just kind of thought that would be. Well, that was good. You got one. Mm-hmm. Yay, Nikki got one. He got one. He got one. That's pretty awesome. I loved it. Again, every single one of these movies, like what you were saying before earlier, I did think this was one of the stronger lists of nominees, at least personally for me. That particular one took me completely off guard. Just the way that we grew up watching Godzilla movies. I think you and me both have had that in our lives, pretty predominantly, and even like, we both grew up with like Roland Emmerich and all the good stuff. We've seen all the ones, the American-made ones over the past few years. Cool. This one, the amount of character development in it, I think, is what took me by surprise and was the most exciting and thrilling part about watching a movie like this, because in contrast to the American Godzilla movies, which are fun, like we watch them and really like watching them, like, it's just an enjoyable time and you have like popcorn and you're doing nothing on a Friday night. But if you really want to feel something and actually watch something, that really does have so much development in the character. Also, all this context behind it as to the country and what they're experiencing going through war. I don't cry a lot in horror movies. And to be honest with you, I have a hard time even sometimes considering like monster movies, horror movies sometimes, because of just the action and the excitement. This was truly horrific in moments, but also I cried 3 times watching Godzilla -1. The amount of like, just soul that it had, and the acting was so good, and everybody in it did a great job. But also, like, I really felt like the stakes were high for so many different reasons. War being one of it, but really the other thing being that kind of like Alien, you feel like you have this monster that's just absolutely unstoppable. Like, what are you really going to do to be able to take this this long-term, long-form creature that's been around forever out of existence?
Yeah.
And it's pretty hard to considering that the stakes are so high. And that's exactly what makes the Godzilla movies so good. This one in particular.
Yeah. I just also want to say the score was really good.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
All of it. Oh, that was easy. Wow. He agrees. He agrees.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to go with, okay. Ready?
Yeah. 1.
You didn't even like say anything. I wasn't even supposed to know what I was supposed to do.
Okay, good. Aw, that's Lisa Frankenstein.
Yes.
We have a heart. We have a sweet couple, because it was probably the cutest, one of the cutest movies probably on the list this year, huh?
Yeah, it felt like, to me, the movie felt like Heathers. And it was really fun. I love Heathers. If you haven't seen Heathers, go check it out. It's a really fun kind of like California, like 80s movie that's like super dark comedy, kind of a horror movie that stars Winona Ryder. It's a really good movie. And Lisa Frankenstein kind of has a lot of those similar beats. It takes place kind of like in the 80s, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like totally 80s, like with the hairstyle and the music and everything. And but it's also like a really fun take on the similar thing to Poor Things, because Poor Things is a Frankenstein movie as well. It's but it's got that whole type of vibe to it, and it's super stylized with like the neon glow and pastels and things. Which again, I really love style in horror movies, and so it's like kind of like a warm-hearted, fun, like loving movie that's quirky. But then it also has a lot of great style, and it's not really a horror movie at all. Like you could show that to like it's like a teenager.
Oh my God. Yeah. Aside from, honestly, when I'm thinking back on it, because it is like a PG-13. I don't even know if there's really any like blood in it or anything. It's very, very tame. The only thing that gives me any pause for kids would be the sex. And even that's pretty tame in the grand scheme of things, but it's very fun. It's also, I think, worth mentioning that it was directed by Zelda Williams, who's Robin Williams' daughter. And I think she did a really great job, because like everything you were saying, aesthetically, it's really fun. The color schemes used in the movie, some of the fun choices, lots of great music. I don't know, that music budget was actually pretty on spot. So they did a really good job with that, but very, very fun. Shout out to Catherine Newton too. She's the lead in that movie. She was also the lead in Freaky.
Right.
She's just so freaking cool. I can't wait to see her career as she continues to like just pick these really, really fun roles, and she does really, really well. I was really happy to see her as the lead. I was like, oh, I'm going to be in for something nice, because Freaky was one of my favorite movies the year that we did that one on the podcast. So
For sure.
Cool. Good choice. I think I'm winning. A little bit of pressure.
You ready? And 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi. That Lisa Frankenstein.
Yeah. The love angle is sweet. If I had had more time, I would have drawn like a little, maybe nuts and bolts on his head. That's kind of what I was thinking, is to make it a little bit more Frankenstein-y. But yeah. Exactly the things that you said.
I was like, you're going to keep talking about it? You just talked about it.
Yeah, no, you talked about it. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, there's really nothing more to say about it other than I just was really excited to watch it. I remember I saw it on Letterboxd months ago, and I told you, I was like, this is one that I'm really, really excited about. It's also written by Diablo Cody, who wrote Jennifer's Body, which is like one of my favorite campy horror, non-horror films. Like if we're just even going like down the comedy route and everything with that. I don't know. I'm really into that kind of humor. I really am into those super, super stylized look of things. And I just love that this year felt like Frankenstein's year. It was like an homage to, again, you were talking about Universal horror movies. We own all of the original ones on VHS at our house. We're big, big fans. And so it was really cool to see Frankenstein getting some love in a lot of different ways. And also female leaning. Like, even though Cole Sprouse in this movie is technically like the Frankenstein character.
Frankenstein's monster.
Truly, I guess technically Lisa is truly Lisa Frankenstein. But yeah, it's just a nice breath of fresh air to see the female lead, especially, again, considering Mary Shelley is the original writer of Frankenstein. So bringing it all females, always a fan of that. So Lisa Frank. There you go.
I get one more, right? It's the last one.
Oh my God, is it? Are we already at the last bit?
No, I haven't done. Can you count?
I have 2 left, so.
You have 2 left? Okay, I have 2 then. Okay.
I do math for a living, so forgive me.
Now count out loud so I can hear how much time I have, so I'm not just guessing. Okay, ready?
Yeah. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi.
See how much longer this is than the other thing?
5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi. You're done. That's Godzilla. But you did a better job, I think, than me. I did the water, and you at least got a little dinosaur with, I don't know what happened to the leg here, but
well, it didn't finish.
And a little plane.
That's
cute.
Plane.
That's perfect, actually.
Godzilla -1 takes place right after World War II during the Japanese Reconstructionist period of World War II. So there's a lot of metaphors and things going in there. But I love that the fact that the low technology makes the fighting the animal, the beast, the monster way harder than it is now. Like the thing is with the newer Godzilla movies, is that the American Godzilla movies take place now, and it's like this hyper futuristic world, so they can have like lasers and like crazy planes and explosions, and you can go into like Hong Kong and Boston, and it's like all modern, which is fine. That's just like a big like popcorn creature feature. The thing is with this is that there's like so much more going on, and for I'm not trying to speak for Japanese, but for Japanese people, that movie is like the start of their film industry. That was heavily influenced by American film industry, but then it's also like the themes and everything are all about their culture and what they've had to go through. And so they take the Godzilla movies, at least the last few that I've seen. I mean, I've seen the original, and I've seen a lot of the remakes that are definitely super campy, but Godzilla -1 and Shin Godzilla, those two movies take the subject matter very seriously, but not like pretentious seriously. They just don't, it's not just like a dumb monster movie though. And I think that's what's great about that movie.
Yeah. Well, I think done in a way, done by the people who originally did it with the original intention behind it.
Yeah.
In a modern way.
I just feel like there's a respect for the material, which I think also goes into making a really good movie, is understanding like the ideas of the film and what the idea is trying to say. It can be a fun idea depending on the movie, or like a silly idea or a stupid idea, but you can do something really cool with ideas, and you should meet those ideas.
Mm-hmm. So. I think that's every single movie so far that we've talked about, which is cool. It was, again, good, strong year. I can't wait these are so fun. It's just chaos. All right. You can start.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi. That's Infinity Pool.
Sweet little Alexander Skarsgård exploding in the water.
I was wondering when that was going to come up.
It's actually not water. I don't even know what that is. It's
the
blood.
Liquid.
The blood.
Yeah.
The blood of the innocent. Yeah, this movie was crazy. But I'm pretty sure the year that Brandon Cronenberg also put out Possessor, I talked about that too. I'm a big Cronenberg gal, if you haven't figured that out yet by any of our prior anything, if you have seen our videos or listened to our podcast.
Or even like hear her music. So much of like the stuff that like inspires you. Like that type of like brooding, like scientific, like kind of body horror movie that's like a really like brooding concept that's like dark and just like really moody. That's like your type of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, even more so than like Poor Things or like Lisa Frankenstein or something.
For sure. And so David Cronenberg is one story, and then you have Brandon, his son, who has done the movie Possessor. He did Infinity Pool. I talked to, like, anybody who wants to hear this from me will hear this from me. I've talked to my brother about this. I've talked to you about this. But I like each Cronenberg because while they have kind of like a great understanding of horror and what makes things genuinely scary, they also have different ways of approaching their horror, where David definitely leans into the body horror and the grotesque and really like what makes things happening to ourselves and the degradation of ourselves scary. Brandon takes that and applies it to like the mind, and is just super cerebral with how he goes about things. So Infinity Pool is literally this idea of like a couple going to an island where they find out there's this subsect of basically crime going on amongst people who go and visit the island, rich tourists, where they can commit a crime. And if they commit the crime and they're, sentenced to death, rather than actually be sentenced to death, they have the technology to be able to make an exact clone of you, and they'll kill that version of you instead. And actually a family member, if you like kill somebody, a family member, I'm pretty sure it might even be like the firstborn child or something, is the one that will kind of do your death. And the worst part is you have to watch it. So you're watching your actual clone die. It's this kind of idea of like being reborn and constantly trying to find yourself in the midst of all this. Like, what does all this actually mean? Who am I actually? I think a lot of that, like, without going too far into it, probably has to do somewhat with even like Brandon coming to terms with being in his dad's shadow, what that looks like, being reborn out of a horror genius. You somewhat become your own sidestep of it, but doing it in your own way and getting caught up in that completely. I found the whole thing really, really crazy and interesting. I also Alexander Skarsgård's amazing, obviously. Like, I feel like every movie he's in, I love him in Melancholia, and I love him in this. This is probably one of my favorite instances of seeing him. But also Mia Goth, who has captured us however many times. Pearl, she was in X. She's in Maxine, which we haven't seen yet, but we're
All
gonna.
three of those movies that are connected, yeah.
Yes, but they're all very strong horror movies. They're like movies that she, at this point, is becoming known for because she's so kind of like, I don't know. She's got those big eyes. She really is like horribly emotive with her face in a way that's like kind of riveting and exciting. She's got a big mouth too. Like every time I see her smile, I'm like, I don't know whether to be like in love with her or scared and totally want to run away. It's kind of the exciting thing about her that I find fun. So
yeah,
it's really well acted.
With Infinity Pool, I think too, it's something that you can totally see like rich people doing if they did that. Also, it kind of has like these themes of like gentrification. The island, they don't necessarily want you to know their culture, what they actually like have with their nature and things. And so it's kind of something to do with like gentrification as well, I think, like themes of that, or like foreign people coming in and like disrespecting culture and people and the island like profiting off of that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like things going on with that. And that's like a really clever movie that has like lots of layers to it that you can choose to like read into or not. Like on the surface, you can just watch it and it's this really crazy movie about people who commit crimes, clone themselves, and then have to kill their clone.
Mm-hmm.
And people get addicted to that kind of rush of it and like that freedom.
They literally go like they make friends with people, and the way they're even introduced to the world is that they meet these people that literally come back every year to do this. Mm-hmm. And it's just insane when you think about the idea of like rich people. It's just those societal gaps and like what that actually means. But when you really think of it, like it really could all be to the benefit of that country. Maybe they're using these people to their advantage. Maybe all of this death is got some bigger purpose or whatever. If you really start to look into that and get weird, kind of like down the rabbit hole, it can be really fun. But that's where it also gets. David is cerebral. Brandon, I think, goes like beyond, above and beyond cerebrally. And I really, really like that. So that for me was a big one. Anytime I'm going to see a Cronenberg name pop up, I'm going to probably have that on my list for the year. Mm-hmm. It just seems so far I have not been disappointed. Even the stuff that I don't necessarily deeply resonate with, it's movies. Mm-hmm. They're all movies that I'm thinking about, like what we talked about earlier. It's movies that you sit with for a while and you're like, wow, that was dark, but then it's like darker when you really sit and think about it, or even the person behind it. So
nice.
Yeah. Okay. Heck yeah.
I'm next. I'm the last one.
Do it. Show us what you got. What you got. What you got. Actually, I think I know what you got because we haven't done it yet, but you kind of alluded to it already. All right, so we're gonna go with the 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi. Yeah.
You rushed it all crazy.
I did not, and I took that first one so long because you weren't ready.
Way faster.
Also, I'm pretty sure Pictionary, you're not supposed to write things. So London to Paris.
We didn't say it's Pictionary. We just said we were going to draw and then guess.
It's Poor Things.
We actually legally can't call this Pictionary.
It's Poor Things. Well, we are a very, very small faction here over at Rabotat Records. We're not going to nobody's coming after us for copyright.
That's true.
Or trademark. So, Poor Things. Anything else you want to add to this amazing movie that we've talked about? It was so good.
I think I would just say that the idea of the music being really great. That's not something we didn't talk about really at all. You did talk about it on your walk.
Quick talked about it, yeah. But
the music's really great. It's also plays into it, and there's so much attention to detail in that. So yeah, like there was a lot of respect for it and all that style and stuff. But there's just like there's so much like allusions to like even dances you were talking about, and then like art direction, and then how the music evolves and like grows over time. All of that stuff. It's a really great like hero's journey in like a monster movie type way, and it was really good. Yeah, I really liked it.
It's a really nice way of explaining it, actually, the hero's journey, because Bella definitely has that. By the end, you feel pretty empowered for her, you know.
And the hero's journey to me is a very tired concept because there's been all these superhero movies and stuff, and so that idea of the hero's journey has been like done to death. And way before that of superhero movies was a thing. That is like the thing, but. It's been around for hundreds of years, thousands of years maybe, the idea of a hero's journey. But it's cool when you get like a fresh take on it. And I feel like with a lot of female films, you don't get a movie like this that is like so focused on and sensitive to like what an actual like female hero's journey would be like, done in this type of context with Frankenstein.
For sure. Like no Mary Sue here. She actually has to go through everything, and
you just struggle and you figure things out, but it helps you think about like other things of life. It's existential in a different type of way than like the Cronenberg movie.
Oh yeah, big time. Like completely different, but also valid completely. Yeah, I would agree.
Cool.
Super, super cool.
Well, that's our picks.
I have one more.
Oh my God.
How dare you.
I lost count. Okay. Let me see.
I'm about to have my own hero's journey here shortly. Are you all ready to see it on camera? You bastard. Okay. Yeah.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi.
That's really bad. If you can guess this, I'll be so proud of you.
Cobweb?
No.
Smile?
No. Smile wasn't even on the list this year. What the frick?
Let's see. What haven't we talked about that you liked? Crimes of the Future? That was last year.
We watched this movie. We watched this movie last night. And he doesn't.
Oh. Really? That's what you picked? How does this look anything like
picked or Drew?
Drew, but
because that's rude. I picked this movie because it's a fun movie. You talking about this is a completely different scenario. This is bad. You can't see this for anybody who's listening to this, but okay, I tried to draw an exaggerated face because that's her whole thing in the movie, and the scary eyes.
That's Evil Dead Rise, yes. And Evil Dead Rise is a good movie. I do like that one. It's fine. The reason why I didn't make it to my list is just because we've seen like Evil Dead like a bunch, and you don't necessarily. It's like one of those things where when you watch like Late Night with the Devil, Poor Things, Lisa Frankenstein, Talk to Me, and even like a lot of the stuff that like Last Drive-In with Joe Bob. A lot of all of those things have in common is that they're IPs that aren't like sequels or like done to death. Like Frankenstein has been done to death, but there's different like interpretations of it. Whereas like Evil Dead, this is like a direct like relation to it. So I really liked it. I thought it was a really good movie. I really enjoyed watching it. We rewatched it last night. It's like one of the only ones we've rewatched, and that was really fun.
I would also,
but yeah, I just didn't make my list because it just felt like the same. Like just watching Evil Dead again. Like, do you want to watch Evil Dead again?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah.
And unfortunately, here's the thing. Like speaking from somebody who also talked for weeks about wanting to see Alien Romulus, I think we all have movies in different universes that we are susceptible to. And I think for us, I mean, we have Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness all on VHS. We love all those movies. I didn't necessarily need another Evil Dead movie, but what I appreciated about this one is even though, yeah, it's like in line with the other films that have come out, and like this isn't like a new idea. The idea of like the Necronomicon isn't like a new thought.
It's not even the Necronomicon in the book.
No, it isn't. And also,
different.
But that's what I think I appreciate about this. I also appreciate the fact that we're talking about like female-led films this year, and actually like looking at my list, I guess it's like pretty predominantly there. I like that the leads were all chicks. I love that the young guy in the movie is the one who screws everything up.
I like that the DJ kid who listens to like LCD sound system like finds a record of
which is cool.
the ritual and stuff. It's neat. It's all this like new stuff that I thought was really good. I thought that the location was really good. The like slapstick humor.
Oh my God. So many times I'm laughing like when I get the eyeball. Which so Chainsaw Awards does do a best kill, and they picked one this year from In a Violent Nature, which Nick and I didn't care for necessarily. We don't need to really go into it, but
we're on the camp where In a Violent Nature was a good movie, but the problem is that when I watch a slasher movie, and I think Alex is in the same boat, when I watch a slasher movie, specifically a slasher movie, I'm really not like interested in like a different take on a slasher movie. Like if I am going to watch a different take, it's got to be something like clever and interesting, not like just following the killer until you get to the final girl. Because like that was the thing is it's like basically a Jason Voorhees movie, that was
stretched on too long.
That just went on for a really long time.
Those scenes were just long.
And the deaths were really brutal and just kind of went on for a really long time. And some people I can totally see like that alternate take on a slasher doing really well. It's beautifully shot. It's really atmospheric. You know, it's very unsettling because it's long takes and just like really like takes its time. It's like a super slow burn movie. But what I like about like Evil Dead is that Evil Dead Rise is that it takes that material and it doesn't try to do something super different with it, but it does it unique enough.
It does a different story.
A different take. It's a different take, but it's not like a complete like, look how different this is, but we're still an Evil Dead movie.
Well, and what I was even going back to with the whole like kill thing too is that, you know, like I know Chainsaw Awards gives a lot of credence to like good kills. And I would even argue that like Evil Dead Rise does something super fun where, yes, the story is different. It takes place in an apartment building. Unusual. It also takes place with a family, like within a pretty immediate family, aside from the sister-aunt character. But that has never existed in the other Evil Deads, where it's just been like friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, sisters and brothers to that extent, but never like a family. And that kill scene where she is out in that hallway and takes everybody out is just fun. It's not necessarily the most gory thing. It's not necessarily like the craziest thing. There's a few weird ass kills in that movie that are riveting, the eyeball being one of them. But that's part of that whole bit. And I just think, I really enjoyed it. I don't know. I didn't need it, but I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it because there's been so many sequels that you and me have also seen within universes of other stuff that we like.
I think they're really good in the Chainsaw Awards too, or at least it got nominated for a bunch of stuff.
A ton of stuff.
I don't know what it actually won, but yeah, it was really solid. And Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell are like producing it. And I love these kind of like standalone things because like with like the Alien Romulus thing and certain other movie like franchises, they all kind of got to tie together. Like you're talking about like Talk to Me, making a sequel, which might have something to do where it's like related to that.
Yeah.
But what's really cool about Evil Dead lately is that they don't have anything to do with the Bruce Campbell stuff at all. Like the one that came out forever ago in like 2012, that one is like completely different. It's a remake essentially, but it has nothing to do with that universe. It kind of like it's a completely fresh take on it. And then this one is like kind of a fresh take, but this one pays homage to like Army of Darkness, because in Army of Darkness, Ash, Bruce Campbell, has to go and like, get the right book, the right Necronomicon. And there's like 3 or 4 of them like on this like slab in a cemetery or graveyard. And so there are other books of the dead. And so the Necronomicon is just one of them that is related to all these other ones. So that's kind of neat too, because it isn't really the same thing, but they're still paying attention to like one of the goofiest one, which is like Army of Darkness. So they still are related without being related.
That's cool. And I appreciate that because yeah, you feel even like with deliberate choices made within the movie, you can tell that there's still people involved that really care and really love it and really want to pay attention and pay homage to those originals, which yeah, again, if we're talking like series, Evil Dead is one of the most iconic horror series at this point, and you could totally continue to just churn stuff out and make it not good.
Well, they're talking about churning it out more, like to make it like something where they get these new directors, like up and coming horror directors, to like make different versions of it and kind of like franchise it out. If they actually will or not, because I think that idea originally came about with Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell because the universes, like shared universes is such a thing. But for the most part, a lot of the like idea of like shared universes have been a complete failure, except for like the Marvel movies and a couple little things here and there that maybe tie one show to a movie together, like the Penguin right now and like Batman and stuff. So if they actually do end up doing it, it'll be interesting to see how they end up doing it. Like if they're actually even going to attempt to tie things together, or they're just going to be these little chapters of like the evil, like infiltrating something here and then it infiltrates something there, or a family here or that. But the problem is with that is eventually it definitely will get old.
Dry, yeah.
So yeah, that was the only reason why I didn't make it on my list, is I just was like, yeah, but we saw it in theaters. It's like one of the only movies we went to the theaters to go see. And it was a really good movie. And I really liked again, like the DJ stuff with it. The DJ kid with the LCD sound system. That was really neat.
Dance yourself clean for Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, super fun.
It was fun. And that's the part that I liked. I just felt like the whole time, even the scary moments, was super fun. That's what I love about Evil Dead. If it's doing it right, and I would argue that the Fede Alvarez one that came out like forever ago too, like 2013 or something, like that was very graphic, very, very scary, also kind of a fun movie. The Evil Dead movies aren't like so offensive in any way that like I'm always going to have a soft spot in my heart. So I don't know. I really liked it. I was on the fence as to whether this was the one I wanted to do because my other option was Megan, another movie that Nick loves so much and would never include on his list.
Oh, I didn't like Megan.
I loved Megan. Another movie they're going to make a sequel for. And I don't know what that even looks like.
I think what I love about movies in general, but like with horror movies is, there's a stereotype of people who like horror movies that they think that you just watch all horror movies and that you just like them all. And there are lots of people who just watch everything. Like we watch everything, watch all different kinds of stuff. Like I've seen Sleepaway Camp 4, or Slumber Party Massacre 2, which is a pretty great movie. But then I also really like Infinity Pool. And you can't really compare like Infinity Pool to like Sleepaway Camp 4 or like, like even Talk to Me, like those three
any of the movies that we talked about today,
or Godzilla -1, which is like this big budget kind of like classic movie, but it's like kind of a horror movie. Not really. It's like a monster movie. It's more like a drama. But I love the fact that like everyone's taste is different. And like it's the same thing with music that film has, is that everyone's taste is like so different. Megan, which to me just kind of felt like a Chucky movie. And I didn't really like it that much. But then she really liked that. And like for me, I'm trying to think of something that I really, really liked that you didn't really care as much about. I guess this list this time around was pretty much we all like the same stuff because we had a lot of bleed over.
Because I think even there's more movies that we would have included on here. Like one, I'm kind of disappointed that if we had a bigger list, When Evil Lurks. I think you and me both really like that one. That one, one of the better horror movies also in a long time.
I just want to give a shout out to When Evil Lurks because when we watched it the first time, I thought it was okay and I really liked it. But some of those movies you kind of have to be like in a mindset. And with Joe Bob's The Last Drive-In, his night marathon, that was like the third or fourth movie that he showed, like super late, and he did his little commentary in between each in sections of that movie. And so with Evil Lurks, gave me a whole new perspective about it, learned a whole bunch of neat stuff about the movie, and watching it a second time, like Poor Things is a movie I think you really got to watch like multiple times. Some movies like Lisa Frankenstein, you don't really need to watch several times. You probably could rewatch all these movies. Every time you rewatch something twice, you're just looking at it with a different lens. But like certain movies like Poor Things, you can watch and pick up new things every single time. And I think the same thing with Evil Lurks, especially when you start to learn a little bit about that. But yeah, it was a great movie. That should definitely be an honorable mention because that was a great movie.
When Evil Lurks, for me, Megan personally, I'm trying to think of like what else there. I mean, again, it was such a really great list. Just go on the list.
We'll link the list of the nominees in the description and just go and look at check some out because there's something for everyone.
Oh, there's so much. Really Renfield was on that list. Even that, is it called When a Stranger Knocks? That was that M. Night Shyamalan one, with Dave Bautista. There was just a lot of a variety pack, but I felt like there was nothing on that list, I guess, other than In a Violent Nature, nothing that I really like heated to the extent that I was like, I just don't even want to talk about it. And even then we talked about it because you and me get worked up about movies. So
yeah, good movies are good movies. I mean, In Violent Nature is a good movie. It's just a movie that maybe we didn't like.
It's a personal taste thing. And I think that's like what you were saying about music and movies. That's the cool thing about it is every interpretation of it is different. Like what you were saying, like our lists do somewhat align, but we have things that we also vastly don't agree on. Sometimes our level of camp is a little different than each other, but that's okay. But that's our 666 episode of the Fangoria Chainsaw. I don't know. We do this every year. This is like our thing. I want to call it like our Fangoria Chainsaw thing.
It's our annual
our show.
Our spooky movie podcast.
Spooky movie podcast.
Yeah, because this one we base it off the Chainsaw Awards because it's a really good like gauge on like what's going on. But it's just a cool way to like talk about movies and just to, like talk about like other stuff and let them know what you have coming up.
Okay, so yes, I have a new single, Wendigo, coming out on October 22nd. There will be a Taste of Techno coming out in the vicinity of all that too, so stick around for that. We do have lots of new music also coming out on Rabotat Records. One that's a really, really big one that you all should know about for this season is we have a new artist, The Makers After Dark. You might have seen them last year on our Circuitry stream, but they have a new single coming out called Thing Like You, and that will be out on October 30th. Perfect for Halloween.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Grab your gal, grab your ghoul, listen to Thing Like You. It's very saucy, very sexy, and yeah. It's good fun.
And then I have a remix coming out from Delirious Serious's own Luchador That's I don't want to give away exactly what style it is, but it's a really cool remix on Roses and Tumbleweeds, my own song. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then we have lots of stuff planned for next year, and definitely gonna hit the ground running next year with some really great things.
Yeah, so stick around. There'll be more podcast episodes. There'll be more videos on our YouTube channel and more music and maybe some more puppies. We have puppies off camera that are tussling around right now, so that's our cue. But thank you for joining me again, sir. I love doing these with you. These are so fun.
I love
you too. Thank you. Cheers, y'all.